What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aidan Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Do Crew. This is Ball Hawk, Ifeatu Melifonwu of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations for the third time today. Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land, I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining me here today just after 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I want to give credit where credit is fully due. This is coming from Hutch Jr., who got it over to me. This is from Justin Rodgers. You all know him. You've probably grown up watching him, either worked for M Live, Detroit Free Press, whatever it may be. I get he's on his own now with the Detroit Times, but he is reporting as of minutes ago that linebacker Derek Barnes is planning to return for the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. And you know what? That's going to lead to a lot of speculation. You heard about a month and a half ago that Derek Barnes stopped his individual workouts in Florida to come on up to Detroit Lions training facilities and start working out with Aidan Hutchinson here at the table. We all get it, man. The Lions, hey, you couldn't ask for much better news. Now, you've heard as of last week, Lions Talk Live, we had some Detroit Lions reporters get us some information that Alex Anzalone was going to start his 21-day window this week. That came to fruition. We heard that also that was possible Aidan Hutchinson could start his 21-day window as soon as this week. And yes, while it doesn't seem like that's come to pass, we did just 2 days after getting that information, got the newest update video from Aidan Hutchinson. You can see him on the treadmill. The thing I've heard from multiple different athletic trainers, when you look at that video, look at the water level. It's down to just below his waist. Now, why is that important? Because it's probably most of us, it probably goes without even being noticed. But that means he's fully weight bearing on his own. The water at this point is just there for some stability and such in his lower levels to help him, not overly strain everything. But from multiple different reports, you are getting from people either through Detroit media and or through the athletic training world that Aidan Hutchinson actually might be pretty dang close to starting that 21-day window. Now we take it all a step further. And what else do we get? We get the news that Derek Barnes, you know what? He might just be back for the Super Bowl. Could it be? I know it's been suggested by Adam Scheffler and others in major media that Hutchinson makes it back for the NFC title game. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But let's go ahead real quick. Like I said, I want to give Hutch Jr. a lot of credit for getting this over to me. He picked up on it first. He got it from Justin Rodgers, got it over here. Hutch Jr., it feels like we're talking quite a bit today about Detroit Lions players coming on back. How big of news is this just hours after officially, or maybe even an hour after officially getting Khalif Raymond back and Alex Anzalone back? Now we're getting word that perhaps Derek Barnes might just be back this year after all.
Yeah, this is kind of huge news, right? I mean, I think this is one of the big things we didn't know about. I feel like no one kind of knew where Derek Barnes was. Right. I felt like he was kind of on the outskirts looking in. You know, he kind of hinted at some posts that he would be back in 2025. So no one really knew, like, is that the season in 2025 or is that the playoffs in 2025? And shout out Justin Rodgers. These guys do an amazing job inside of Detroit sports media. So when I saw it, it's big news because, I mean, now you're talking – not only is your linebacking core depleted, but that's one of your Mike Sam linebackers. So if you get him back for the Super Bowl, you're potentially looking at getting Aidan back in either maybe division, NFC championship, and then now you're talking Anzalone and Khalif. Your defense is pretty much full health. If you talk outside of Carlton Davis, no one knows where he stands. I think at one time they said he was out the year, but with a jaw injury, it's weird. I don't know. He could be back maybe sooner. So we're talking about maybe if we do get Carlton Davis back, you get Barnes back, Hutch back, your defense is full goal by the Super Bowl. I feel like, Detroit's kind of been on the outskirts right now. I feel like no one's picking them to beat the Vikings. No one knows where they stand as this defense going in the playoffs. They're kind of on the outskirts where they were the favorites. I mean, they get these guys back. I mean, that defense is, what they started with at the beginning of the season outside of Carlton Davis. I mean, I feel like you would then have to put them back in the favorites of, the Super Bowl winners.
Well, I think you're spot on. I mean, this defense will obviously go back to being nearly full strength. Carlton Davis, from what little I know of the situation, it sounds like at some point in the playoffs he could return, probably as a backup or depth piece. The further they make it in the playoffs, maybe he actually regains his starting spot. But Mig Robinson's looked pretty good out there. Nothing's bringing back Aleem McNeil. We get that torn ACL. He's out. Rodrigo's out. But you know what? You're getting Alex Anzalone back. You're getting, Ben Neiman and Trevor Nowatzki got a ton of reps, so you kind of add some depth. And now Derek Barnes, if he gets back there where the coaching staff actually feels he can come in and contribute at a high level, this defense, like you're alluding to, you start having a few extra guys like Derek Barnes who can come off the edge and get after it. Hutchinson, if he does return, maybe he's not 100%, but maybe he's 90%. And I have to imagine for this defense, which is struggling in pressure without blitzing, getting a 90% Aidan Hutchinson, getting maybe a 90% Derek Barnes, how big of an impact off the edge do you feel like that is? And do the Lions now have the luxury of just rushing 4?
Yeah, I mean, I think you touched on it, right? I feel like that was kind of our one thing we were missing with Hutch going down. I mean, he's the one that sets the edge. He's kind of the commander of this defense with pressures and sacks and things like that. And also, I mean, everyone's been talking about Zadarius Smith. He hasn't been doing, what we brought him here, but you also got to remember we've lost a lot of those pieces on defense. So like He was supposed to be that guy that was supposed to come in with Aleem and DJ and these guys and help rush the passer. But now you're talking about everyone knows him. He's a vet. So now they're going to target. He's kind of getting the Aidan Hutchinson treatment where we're just going to chip block him and then we're going to let other people beat us. So now you're talking about you get, some of these guys back. That's going to free up this defense. It's going to help the pass rush. Now you can send Zadarius. Now you can send DJ. Now you can send Muhammad. Now you can send, a Hutch at that point. And then, as everyone knows, Derek Barnes was a huge coverage linebacker late in the year last year. He had the pick to seal the game against Tampa Bay. So not only are you talking, you could even send Campbell, Iffy, Branch. I mean, now you're talking about Glenn's whole scheme kind of going back to what it was when he started off the year, which was at one time a top 10 defense up until all the injuries happened.
Well, I think the other part you bring up, a great point there, Hutch Jr., is that Zadarius, and he's a little bit older, but now if he becomes more of a rotational piece, same with Alaquin Muhammad, which I actually like the guy. I just think he's probably better off if he's only giving, say, 12 to 20 snaps a game versus 30, 40 or whatever. You start seeing some of these guys have a little bit more burst, maybe a little bit more energy. When they're out there, they know they can just go, pedal to the metal, whatever you want to say. Same with Hutch Jr., Hutch himself. The defense seems like it's getting healthier in a hurry here if all these guys do return. You mentioned Aaron Glenn can kind of go back to at least somewhat to getting back towards what he did early in the season when this was top 10 defense. In your opinion, how long do you think it will take for Iffy Melifanu, Derek Barnes, Alex Anzalone, Aidan Hutchinson, if they all do indeed return? How long do you think it takes them all to get up to speed?
I feel like some of those guys, I feel like Hutch and maybe Barnes are probably going to be the two guys that are going to take the longest just because they've been out of it so long. I mean, you work all off season to do the football conditioning and then you're injured and now you're just only doing rehab. So you're not fully getting with the pads on and the stuff in. So I feel like that's where the first round bye comes in. Maybe, you get that one extra week, you can start the 21-day window, get the wind under them, kind of like they did Anzalone, get them back in the middle of the week, practice them all week, see how they feel, and then make the thing. I mean, I would imagine, these guys are athletes, they're built for this stuff. I mean, they can probably go in a week and be ready to come back in. But the big thing is the experience and what they already know. So you can just plug these guys right in. It's not like Aaron Glenn's changing the scheme. He can just plug these guys right back in, and they're like, okay, it's the same defense I was running. So obviously, I think more of it's the conditioning to make sure they're ready to go. Can they do it at full speed? Things like that. But these guys are athletes. They can just kind of plug and play and go. So. I get Justin Rodgers. He's covered the Detroit Lions
gosh, I don't even know, 15 years now. For those who don't know, he was originally with M Live before he went over to Detroit News, etc. Now he's on his own. He knows this team probably as intimately as anybody, but it has been reported from Adam Scheffler and, oh gosh, I got to remember, Jay Glazer of Fox, that Aidan Hutchinson could potentially, return for the NFC title game. Do you think, perhaps we're being overly optimistic thinking that could happen? Or do you think there is some legitimacy to that? If he does return, do you think Derek Barnes returns for that game as well?
Yeah, I mean, it could possibly be that they both back come in the NFC Championship game. I mean, you just never know. Like, I mean, at one point we were like, oh, we don't even know if we're going to get these guys back. And now we're talking about, now it's being reported. I mean, you got to think like Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport and these guys, they get reports from the team and they don't spend time with the team. So like Justin Rodgers and Eric and these guys, they're at the, they spend time with these guys every day. They're around them. They see it. So, when you get reports, like if anyone knows, at the beginning of the week, I'm pretty sure Ian Rappaport came out and said Anzalone wasn't even playing this week. And then, I think it was Justin or Justin Miller or one of these guys came out and said that's not even true because they're not around the team. So no one knew. And then now here it is. Anzalone's been activated 3 days later and he's playing. So it's like, I mean, obviously you respect Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport and what they do, but they're not at the campus. They're not at Allen Park with these guys. They don't see him every day. So it's like when you get reports from like Justin Rodgers and these guys see these guys every day. They know where they're at. So, I mean, if these guys are reporting that, hey, Barnes can be back by a Super Bowl, they've seen something or they've heard something by the team or Barnes himself to say, hey, I'm ahead of schedule. I can be back by this time.
I see a couple of you guys in the comment section asked about Davenport. From my understanding, him and Kaminsky are donezo for the season. Unfortunately, Davenport, just that elbow and the surgery required, he's probably not coming back. For those of you who also texted me and reached out about Emmanuel Mosley, I'm not going on the air until I have something very firmly confirmed on that one. And until that point, I'm just going to say he's on the NFI list, so he probably won't be playing anytime in the foreseeable future for the Detroit Lions. Hopefully I'm wrong and wish him well. But Hutch Jr., you know what? Everybody's, we're 26 hours roughly from kickoff. What's your score prediction for tomorrow?
I think I'm going 37-21. I think the Lions win it. I think they get a couple stops, which gets them the score. I think Anzalone's going to help out in the pass game. So, 37-24, I think I'm going to go. I think the Lions get a few stops, I think. And, hey, don't forget, I don't know if you guys saw, Jahmyr Gibbs is 2 touchdowns from breaking the all-time single-season rushing record. He's at 16. He needs 18, and he breaks it. So, everyone keep your eyes out on that. But, yeah, I think I'm going to go 37-21. I think the Lions pull it off. I hope they pull it off. I'm gonna be there live, so it's gonna be crazy. And I hope they got the banner ready because I'm ready to watch it. Last year, obviously, when we went, it was already hung because of the the way it was. But to be there, see these guys celebrate, on the field and stuff like that would be amazing, and just cement history. And the Lions, I mean, this is realistically the biggest Lions game I think in history of the franchise.
For those just joining us, before we get on out of here, Justin Rodgers from the Detroit, I want to say Detroit News, but he's on his own now with his own stuff. So he's reporting that Derek Barnes could return for the Super Bowl. That is Barnes' goal, I guess, to return for the Super Bowl. Remember, he's been working out with Aidan Hutchinson for a little over a month now in Detroit, and it would be my anticipation if Aidan Hutchinson comes back for the NFC title game, you're going to have Derek Barnes back for the title game. Dave Montgomery, my anticipation is probably the first playoff game for the Detroit Lions. He's back. Carlton Davis, if he's not back for the first playoff game, I'm thinking the second playoff game. And yes, I do think he wouldn't be a starter. I think would be coming off the bench, support, because he probably has lost a little mass, a little muscle since his jaw's been fused. But you know what? Getting him back, even in that role, just makes this team that much deeper. Hutch Jr., why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout out to everybody where they can find you and your great work. And thanks for all you do.
Yeah, no, thank you, Dan. I appreciate you. You can find me on Twitter, the THE Only Hutch Jr. You guys catch me on there with all the updates and stuff. As always, you can find me on here with Dan, the Do Crew. You guys are amazing as always. And then catch my Vibe Radio, cmvradio.com. So outside of that, thanks, Dan, for having me on, man. You guys are amazing, and go Lions.
All right, guys, we'll get on out of here. If there's still some breaking news still tonight, I'll get it over to you as quick as possible. Otherwise, take care, be a good human being, do something kind for somebody you don't know. We'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, all. You're still here? What are you doing here? It's over. The show's over. Go home.